literally 2 days after elections in our country, Germany will stand to its commitments. Excellency, UN Resident and Humanitarian Coordinator, dear Ramiz, Head of UN OCHA Ethiopia, Mr. Paul Hanley, UN Women Representative, Mrs. Cecile Mukarubuga, UNICEF Representative, Dr. Abubakar Kampo, UNHCR Representative, Mr. Andrew Mbogori, dear media representatives, dear guests. These are challenging times for the humanitarian community, not just in Ethiopia, but globally. New political priorities and geopolitical shifts leading to funding constraints and budget cuts are seen the world over. Given these developments, which affect us all, I am glad to say that the Federal Republic of Germany remains committed in its support to the UN system in Ethiopia. Commitment in these days means reliability. In difficult times, partners need to be able to rely on each other. Germany continues to be a steady and reliable partner to multilateralism. And I say this literally 2 days after elections in our country, Germany will stand to its commitments. Last year, Germany granted more than 44 million euro of humanitarian assistance to the UN system in Ethiopia alone. Most of that at the end of the last year for implementation in the coming months. For instance, UNHCR Ethiopia received 4.1 million euro for its integrated refugee response. UNICEF Ethiopia was granted 3.8 million euro for child protection, especially in response to sexual and gender-based violence. And with German support, UN Women started a new phase of its project to address inequality and GBV. All of these three agencies received top-ups end of last year, which were part of a wider additional funding of 50 million euro for cross-country projects. This funding will also support the humanitarian response in Ethiopia in the coming years. Ladies and gentlemen, commitment also means setting priorities. We cannot do more with less, but we can use the funds as efficient as possible, and in line with our grand bargain responsibilities from the World Humanitarian Summit held in Istanbul in 2016, we urge to improve the effectiveness of humanitarian coordination in order to get more means into the hands of people in need. Thus, our UN funding is provided without earmarking, offering the UN agencies with the utmost flexibility to react ad hoc to humanitarian crises. Like this, funds for cross-country projects can be used whenever and wherever humanitarian needs arise. Be it natural disasters like landslides in the Gofa Zone last July, or cholera outbreaks in Metakel, or conflict-related internal displacement in the north. And commitment also means honesty, and the frankness not to divert from uncomfortable questions. It means tackling newly arising challenges together. We need to face the reality that humanitarian funding is decreasing. There will not be a return to business as usual. We together, as donors, UN agencies, and especially the receiving countries, should develop new ideas how to reform the global humanitarian system. This will require a mind shift on all sides. More German-funded activities in Ethiopia have also been implemented by the World Food Programme, by UN OCHA, IOM, and the WHO. For instance, UN OCHA received 15 million for, among other things, anticipatory action in drought-affected areas and localization efforts through the Ethiopian Humanitarian Fund, with Germany being the biggest donor in 2024. And our funding does not only apply to the humanitarian sector, but for development cooperation as well. We are looking beyond acute crises and are thus linking humanitarian engagement with sustainable development.
From the UN system, media representatives, colleagues, friends, please consider all protocols observed. Today, we're here on a very good occasion. I really would like to thank and to celebrate in this challenging global context when the funding landscapes are so unpredictable, and then everywhere around the world we have seen a reduction in humanitarian funds. We came here to celebrate and express our profound gratitude to the Federal Republic of Germany for its steadfast commitment to the humanitarian action in Ethiopia. We continue to experience needs. These needs are sizable despite of the progresses which have been made. We're still being affected, as you've seen, by the climate shocks and many other factors. So this support is very important. Germany is the UN's third largest donor globally and the largest within the European Union. Its contribution spans across sectors, supporting programs that strengthen local capacities, enhance economic and social development, and promote gender equality. This partnership reflects Germany's deep commitment to improving the lives of vulnerable populations worldwide. And to that end, I must, with great pleasure, to note that in 2024, indeed, Germany allocated 44 million euros to support humanitarian efforts in Ethiopia, and now additional 50 million euros have been pledged. And through this funding, UNHCR, UNICEF, and UN Women will be supported in delivering life-saving assistance and building resilience to the affected communities. Specifically, UNHCR is providing refugees, displaced Ethiopians, and host community with protection, healthcare, shelter, water sanitation, and education support. Germany's contribution also strengthened integration of displaced population into national services, fostering long-term transformation. UNICEF has expanded child protection efforts with particular focus on addressing sexual and gender-based violence. And UN Women has advanced gender accountability, tackling inequality and gender-based violence in humanitarian settings. I must admit with great pleasure that Germany's funding is actually unearmarked, which means it's unconditional. It doesn't include any specific conditions attached to it. And it is also addressing the issues of a long-term sustainable approach and resilience, which allows us to transfer from the traditional way of doing humanitarian aid into actually working on self-reliance, sustainability, and putting response into the hands of the communities, where the communities own up to the response and address in a long-term way. This is a type of a shift in terms of humanitarian assistance which we need to make into the long-term and durable solutions. And that's why I think we salute also, as part of this funding, the Germany's approach to the grand bargain. And what does that mean as part of the grand bargain to which we all agreed a decade ago in Istanbul when we had a global humanitarian summit, is that most of the funding actually is going to the local communities, is going to the national partners, and to those who are actually living in those communities, and they take the response into their hands. So the grand bargain is about that. It's about localization. It's about enabling those who are on the grounds to take care of it, and that's why this funding is so important. So, and that's why it's not only critical in delivering life-saving assistance, but we are actually building resilience and the long-term approach. And for this, we're extremely, extremely grateful. Now, this funding, as I noted, comes at the time when the entire humanitarian funding system is overstretched and underfunded, and the Germany's continued reliable partnerships and predictability underscores that in this world today we have a power of global solidarity and a shared commitment to a human dignity, and that we must find durable solutions for the most vulnerable communities. As we navigate the challenging global times, Germany's unwavering support reminds us of what is possible when nations come together in the spirit of multilateralism and shared responsibility. So today we're celebrating this. Let us build on this partnership to create a future where no one is left behind. Thank you so very much.